Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show that's all about business all the time. Hey, you got a business, you got questions, you want to start a business, you want to understand how to get started in that business? Well, right now, I have one of those professionals in here with me who just started a business and been in it about a year.
Yep, about a year. Just
About a year, the real estate business. So if you're in the real estate, hey, stay tuned to the end because we're going to have some great things for you. So, hey, Miss Kaye Chambers, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having me, Trav.
The pleasure's all mine. The pleasure's all mine. One thing about life, you can always tell a real hustler.
Well,
And some people hustle just harder than others, you know what I mean? And you can always tell when you're dealing with an alpha and when you're dealing with that 5-star chick.
I take all of those things as compliments, and I appreciate it. So yeah, absolutely. You know they say the old saying, it's not on you, it's in you.
It's in you. And
You
women
can feel
hustle
it.
what? Harder.
We do.
That's the
We hustle
bottom
harder
line.
and deal with y'all. So
Whoa,
and
whoa,
the kids
whoa,
and all
whoa.
that. But that's what I love about being a woman entrepreneur because you see the hustle part of us, but then you know that most of us are also running the household,
Facts.
taking care of the kids.
Facts.
You know, usually it's the women that's also dealing with the elderly people in the household as well. You know, family stuff like that. So it's just beautiful to see how many women, especially women in Little Rock. I think there's nothing sexier than what's going on in our city right now, and that's so many women that are, you know, master hairstylists. Mine for sure. Shout out to Melissa Struthers. They call her Rocktown Color Queen, but that's my girl.
Melissa.
So, yeah, nobody better. Nobody better.
Listen, and she can sing.
And she can sing. And she can sing. And shout out to her and 607. They just bought a house with me recently.
Lord, 6.
So,
Know what it
you
is,
know
baby.
what I mean? So just to be able to see people like that do what they do. I think 18 years, almost 2 decades of doing hair. And a great mom, a great person. You know, I tried to do my best to do business with female entrepreneurs. No offense. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, of course, you want to go black-owned business as much as possible, but to be able to represent all the women hustlers out here in our city, you know, that's just a totally different vibe. So shout out to all the women hustlers, you know, all the boutique owners, all the insurance agents, you know, got lots of estheticians coming out.
This for everybody. This for
for
all
everybody.
y'all. It's Ball Jones.
You know, let's get it. Let's get it. You know, with the days of, you know, sit up here and be cute and be somebody's wife and be somebody's girlfriend, those days are over.
No, it's not over. You can do both with your cute self.
You
Hey.
can do both, but you gotta be a soldier to get behind one of us.
Yeah, I mean, all money's green, so I mean, I understand having a niche. That's an
Yeah,
amazing
for
thing,
sure.
you know, when you find your thing, and then if you find a niche like that, which was, you know, especially with all there's so much money to be made right now. This money they printed every day.
Bandemic.
You see them, they
It's
the
a bandemic.
Bandemic. What she said.
If
So
you didn't flip it during COVID,
you
you
probably
missed.
ain't gonna get no money. You probably ain't gonna get
Sorry.
no money. And if you was getting money, and if you was able to take a break during COVID and still maintain everything, you know, then that's a blessing in itself too.
For sure, mental health is right up there.
Yes.
And
So,
COVID affected so many people. So
that's dope. So how did you get into real estate?
I got into real estate. Honestly, it was something I always wanted to do, but I was a single mom, and so I was in sales. I was in car sales, and I just never felt like I was going to be able to take the time to sit down and afford to like not work for 2 or 3 weeks because I was just clock in, clock out, and I was chasing this corporate triangle. So I was working at Bank of America.
Mm-hmm.
I was a relationship rep, and I felt like, to me, like I had this whole vision of, oh, I'm gonna do this, and maybe I'll be, you know, vice president of a branch, and then I was like, I hate this. I hate coming into work. I hate pulling up to this job. I hate having to be here on Saturdays, which is funny now because I work 10 times harder than I did back at Bank of America. Sometimes I'd be like, you know, I wonder if they'll take me back and give me my health insurance.
That's
But you can't go back when you become an entrepreneur. You start working for yourself, no matter what the hours are. So I got into the industry because I was at this crazy place. I left Bank of America. I had a settlement. My bills were paid up. So, you know, I had like exactly what I needed to go to real estate school. So it was something I had been wanting to do. I just couldn't see the vision. And that's what I love so much about the situation that I'm in and where I'm at is I get so many people that reach out to me and say, how do I get my real estate license? And so I have a kind of a unique perspective because I was working another job and It's not impossible. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's not easy. It is a difficult test. I'm a pretty intelligent individual, Bachelor of Honors, PB in the house. But it was one of those things that you can go to real estate school. I think we talked about like slavery and Kim Kardashian when I was in real estate school. We didn't talk about anything that was on the test. When I sat down to take my test for the first time, none of the material looked familiar for me.
OMG.
And people will say that, like people who take the real estate exam, like there's a lot of people in our office that took it a lot of time. They're multi-million-dollar producing agents that took the real estate exam several times. So yeah, it was just kind of everything lined up for me at the right time, and that's how I got into the industry. But it was something that I always wanted to do.
Yeah, you think it's a process of like weeding people out? Because I mean, it's not an easy job, I know.
Pre-COVID, 13% of people who got their real estate license made it as a full-time agent, which means producing anything over, I think the gauge was $1 million, because if you sell $1 million in real estate, you should roughly gross $30,000 a year.
Okay.
So pre-COVID, only 13% of people actually did that. I'm assuming that the number is actually much lower now, because everybody and their mama went out and got their real estate license when COVID hit, which is cool. I'm excited for it. Like, you don't have to be what I am, which is a very goal-driven real estate agent. You can, get your license and help out. You got people out in Blytheville. You can put your sign in the yard and sell a couple extra houses doing it part-time. We have a lot of part-time agents. They have a full-time job that they love, and they just sell a couple here and there, and that's success to them. For me, it's like I'm all in. It's not something that you can do. To me, in my personal view, and this might step on some people's styles, but it's really not something that you can do part-time and be successful at.
You gotta be all the way in.
You've got to be all the way in. It's like you said, it's a very stressful job, and the reward, it's high risk, high reward. The reward from it, if it was easy, everybody would sell.
Exactly.
But it's not.
I mean, being a homeowner, you should know just from going through the process. If I bought a few myself, so it's like, even though now I'm into the investing part of it, the fourplexes, and that's but it's hard to find anything right now.
It's what happened was once COVID hit, our market was saturated with investors out of California and Vegas. They were selling their properties in those places, because you got to understand, where we were acting like COVID wasn't a thing, the whole world was shutting down. I had friends who are real estate agents in Atlanta and Vegas, and they couldn't show houses. They were not deemed as essential workers. So they were, everything was shut down. And so you had all these people that were rolling out their 1099 exchanges. So like you got profit from an investment property, and you have to buy something in order to not have to pay taxes on it that year. So that's what happened in Arkansas. Most things that were available pretty much got bought up by out-of-state investors, because they were like, hey, Arkansas ain't closing down no time soon. Yeah,
the whole South was wide open. Georgia was wide open.
Why would I buy $1 million property in California that I don't know if I'm even going to be able to have a realtor show it or not, when I can buy a quad or a triplex in Arkansas, and Section 8 gonna let you fill it up like that.
Make money on top of money.
So recently there was a post that went around about, they were bashing Little Rock, saying how everybody moves to Dallas likes to,
That's true. That's true. Let me go to Dallas now.
And I love Dallas, to be honest with you.
If you like traffic, you can go to Dallas.
I know. See, I'm not a great driver. Anybody that knows me knows, like, I just be in my own little world. So, and like I have friends that, and when you are a real estate agent in Atlanta, you service Atlanta metro area. You're not in Peachtree City. You're not outside, because it takes 45 minutes to get anywhere. I service Conway, Jacksonville, Sherwood. Honestly, I've only sold 2 houses in Little Rock, because everywhere else is the dollar per square foot is just so much lower. So Maumelle, Jacksonville, Sherwood, Sheridan, anywhere outside of Little Rock, if someone says, can you show a house in Conway, I'm like, okay, I got 45 minutes, I'll be there. You can't do that in Atlanta.
No.
You got to show in at 5 p.m. You got to be prepared by like 2.
Wow.
3.
That's something to think about.
That's something to think about.
That's something really to think about. So you take the test. You say, I'm going to be a realtor. I'm going to do this. And then, you know, it takes you twice to get it right, or how many times?
It took me 4 times.
4 times?
And it took me, I passed it on the national. So the real estate exam is broken up into two parts. You got your national, you got your state. Everybody told me, get your national out the way because state is a totally different beast. And this is typically what happens. So I passed national. I missed national the first time by 2 points. I think it was the nerves. I went into my test and I'm like, you know, I had prepared so much and I had studied, but like I said, none of the material was anything that I had seen. So I go in and I pass national on the second time. So once you pass national or state, once you pass one part of it, you're done. So I'm like, okay, now all I got to do is pass the state. So I'm not there as long. It's not as much questions. My nerves are, you know, I'm more calm. So I'm like, I'm going to go in there, pass it. Go in the third time of state, miss it by like 1 question.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was crazy because this is COVID. So I could not, it took me forever to get an exam because where they usually let like 10 people in, they were only letting in like 2 or 3. And most of the time you're going to take your test in the Tower Plaza building on University, right by the Sharks and St. Mark's.
Yeah.
So they had nothing for like months. So I end up driving to Sea Arc, which is, what is that? Basically Pine Bluff. So the whole time I'm driving, I'm like, okay, I got this. I don't know what it was. It just shook me up again. The testing situation was different, and I'm a terrible test taker. I could tell you everything about selling real estate, but when it comes down to tests, I'm an overthinker. I'm a Libra. That's what we do. So I talked myself out of not passing the exam. So the 4th time I went in and I remember there's a mirror when you go up that elevator. And I tell everybody this in my videos, and whenever people ask me, you know, they'll be on their second or third time to take that test, and I tell them what I did. And I looked in my mirror and I was like, you is not coming back to this testing setting. This is the last time you taking this test. You about to go in here and pass it, and then tomorrow you're going to get your license signed off, and you're going to be a real estate agent.
Manifesting.
You got to. And a lot of people just, like, it's not that we lack the ability, and this is in real estate and in life. It's not that we lack the ability, it's that we lack the confidence in ourselves. And sometimes you can't really visualize, like, am I worthy of this life that I want? And at the time, you know, I was really kind of becoming a woman, and I was like, who deserves this better than me? That's when I woke up the beast inside of myself and became the person that you see today.
And once you let the beast out, you can't put it
My
back.
clients
You
now,
can't put it back in.
my client is over. She can't. I don't even know who she is. But I joke. My real name is Kaylee, so I joke it's Kay versus Kaylee. But my clients and I laugh, and we have a little saying called, you know, let the big dog off the leash.
Okay.
So when they say, you know, my clients say, this is the house that I want. These are the terms that I want. That's what I was
You're going to get it.
You let the big dog off the leash. We're under contract. You know what I'm saying? I walk into the conversation with the selling agent like, you know, we sometimes we already have our inspection scheduled.
Man, that's the kind of agent you want. You proactive as
And
hell.
15 offers in. 15 offers in. And my clients are going to win. And it's so crazy because anytime I have a listing, other agents will call me and they'll be like, is it really bad, Kaye? Or they think because they're my friend and I'm, you know, you can be my friend. And I love working with other agents because every transaction is going to have 2 agents most of the time. You have your listed agent and you have your buyer's agent. And being someone that's constantly flipping back and forth on either side, like my transactions are pretty much half and half sellers, half buyers. So, you know, I know what it's like to be a buyer's agent and I know what matters. And ultimately, it's numbers. It's just, I don't care if you are my best friend as an agent. I'm going to get my sellers the very most because really, honestly, it's going to be tough to get you on the other side. So if you're selling and buying, I gotta help you win. And whether it's a $600 home warranty that the buyers are asking for, if I line up your offer with someone else's, we taking that $600. We want all of it. It might be a $500 deposit, whatever it takes. That's the job. And I think I'm not gonna speak for other agents because I work for Keller Williams and we have a standard of performance. So for us, it's just kind of like it has to be done the right way every time, every situation. But there are a lot of agents that are skipping a step. They don't not even taking professional pictures of the houses because they know I just gonna put my sign in the yard and it's gonna sell.
Wow.
But I do it the same way. I always have open houses. It's planned out, and I it's just like Kobe and his performances, just like Jordan his performance. I don't care if I'm playing the Pistons or the Lakers. It's gonna be
the same routine
every single time.
When you compare yourself to Kobe and Michael Jordan, you know you're going hard in the paint.
And I said Kobe, and I was like, let me go for where it's really at.
Oh my goodness! You took it up a notch.
Well, it's funny. As I was studying for my real estate exam, and even after I got licensed, never mind, I'm gonna go there, but I watched The Last Dance. Mm-hmm. The Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan. Yeah, I watched it. It's embarrassing. I watched it all day long, every day. I would be studying and it would be playing in the background. And when you see somebody who is so dedicated to their art and their craft, because he was Jordan. He had did everything that he said he was going to do. He did everything they said that he couldn't do besides baseball. But
he did it.
He did it.
Baseball is a difficult sport. That's my sport.
And it's a totally different muscle group, bodies, everything. But he did it.
Yeah.
So, it's funny with that baseball is because I want to get into contracting. So it's like, you can be an athlete and you can play basketball and then you get into golf and it's a totally different sport and everybody. But it's funny because people tell me, what you going to get your contractor's license for? How are you going to be a contractor? I was like, oh, okay. And it's just put them back in my head, add them to the list.
You're going to show them. You go show. She go show. The turn
What's
up
today?
Is real.
Today is the 22nd.
The turn up is real.
Whatever you're watching this, just remember, we on your top.
So you ain't playing.
Yeah.
That's funny. So what does it require to get into real estate? What were the fees associated when you first started?
I tell people, and this is a really, really kind of a rough. I mean, it's probably a little bit less, or it could be a little bit more now. But I say be prepared to spend anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 because, and not all at once. When real estate school was $500 for me. Then there was, of course, you got to get your license fees. You got to get your signs. You got to get your lockbox. There's a misconception that we as realtors work for our brokerage, where really it's totally the opposite way. I paid my brokerage about $20,000 just to be an agent this year. You know what I mean? So now I will say that my brokerage is totally different because they've been really good to me. You don't have to accept a welcome. You can negotiate. All things are negotiated. And that's what makes me a good realtor is that I didn't just negotiate in my business. I also negotiated the terms of my contract. Mm-hmm. So, and then thankfully, they didn't laugh at me and tell me go on about your business. They actually saw what I believed in myself. And it worked out really well for me.
That's how it works. I mean, like you said, it's about what's inside of you. It's how you come to the table. You come to the game. It's like in any game. If you people gonna give you what you accept.
I got that from the car business, and so like the car business was many years of working very late. I worked with a lot of crazy people. If you know people that sell cars, a lot of them are crazy. I worked with Steve as Steve was transitioning out of Steve Lander's Toyota and kind of turning things over to the Lutheran group. And so I had some of the best sales managers in the business, and they taught me the game way outside of car business because I was listening to them, but I was like, I knew that wasn't going to be something I was going to do for forever. But who I am in real estate is a mirror between coming from financial institutions, which is very black and white. I'm all about my business when it comes to protecting my clients, making sure, always asking like, is this the right thing? Is this a win-win for every situation? Because, that's what you don't have in a car business. In a car business, it's like whatever it takes to eat. Like it's literally like you get on the car lot, and some are different. Steve wasn't about that, but some lots are totally different. But as a realtor, it's not my job to be I don't have to lie to anyone in order to have a successful business. It's actually the opposite. My job is to protect people. Mm-hmm. Now, my marketing and things, they help me have people to even protect. But that car business, it taught me, a different side, and I let a lot of it go, but I kept what I needed. So.
And your marketing and promotion is what's got you here on this show, because that's what I'm all about. Direct marketing. Y'all know I wrote the book. It's real simple. You can look me up, Trapper the Rapper. You can find that on Amazon. Direct marketing. You have to reach millions, and that's what I love about your hustle.
I appreciate that.
Is this something you had to be born with? I'm sure did you like sell candy in school or?
Oh man, the gift wrapping things, like when you had to sell gift wrapping paper and you won the awards and stuff, like I took it so. My parents were scared of me. My family was, they knew that it was just. I love to win, and it doesn't matter what it is. And I'm so thankful and so blessed because my daughter's like that with education. If it comes down to you and her and there's a math test, I'm praying for the other baby because mine, like all day long. That's just what we do. You know what I mean?
Win, no matter what.
It's in our blood, and there are worse things in the world to be like that about. You know what I mean? I'm so thankful because I found something that I love to do. Of course, like I love design. I really want to get into contract because I love watching houses go up. I love all of that part of it. And then there's I get to be me. I get to be somebody who loves to win, and I get to be somebody who loves to win for my clients, and they love that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so, sometimes the agents on the other side,
Yeah, but there's no worse feeling than falling in love with a house or property and then not being able to get it.
And it's the worst, and that happens. I'm not making it seem like I don't write offers, and I write. And I tell my clients that because I don't write the offer. This is your money. Yeah. I only write the offer based on what my clients want. Now they might ask me what I think is going to take the house, and I tell people all the time. It's sometimes some of my clients haven't just won when it comes to the house. Mm-hmm. They won when it came to a deal. So I've had multiple clients who have walked away with closing costs being paid, down payment assistance, extremely low interest rates because I do my research and I make sure that they're with the right lenders. They get the right home inspectors so they know that their house is checked off on. Home warranty, so if anything happens in that first year, they're covered. So there's way more ways of winning in real estate than just, I got the house that I wanted. I've had clients who have purchased, I've got several right now, and everybody else is throwing the book at houses, and I tell them, you can do this, you can do that. We can write a $20,000 over asking offer, or you can trust me and let me find you something that you're gonna walk into this crazy market with some equity.
Some equity, baby. Say that again. That's my favorite. One of my favorite words. The first one is compound interest, and the second one is equity.
Equity, definitely, because it is a crazy market, and I'm very thankful because my dad bought in crazy markets. And so growing up, I watched him. He bought a house in Colorado. We were joking. I think he was saying, like, my dad has excellent credit. And I think the first house he ever bought in Colorado, I think his interest rate was like 10% or something. Like, insane, right? So now to be able to be representing people who are, especially like, I serve our protected veterans. I'm very passionate about that. I think it's, one of the most amazing things that you can do is to give back to our servicemen and women.
Yeah, I agree with her.
Yeah. This guy feels the same way. And a lot of people don't know because they're listening to the rules for traditional, like, civilians of what is needed to buy a house. But a lot of our veterans don't know it can be tough, on other things. But when it comes to getting a house, you give me a call and we're going to make that happen.
That VA loan, man, it changed my life. Trust me, I understand.
And you deserve it. And I think our teachers deserve something very similar.
I definitely think teachers and police officers deserve the same thing.
And firefighters. Man, if they do that, Lord Jesus, I know y'all. God, I know you listening. If they were to do that,
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
I think that would be crazy.
So, your first year in, How was it? What kind of profits do you make the first year in real estate? How was it? On average, you don't have to disclose
Yeah. No. I'm broke. Please send all your friends and families. I don't have no money. I need help. I'm eating Lunchables. That's what the car business taught us is like you don't ever want to make it seem like you just making too much. It can't get better. I'm kidding. I had a very very blessed year. And so I want to clarify something that you asked me when you said first year. So there's different ways to gauge your first year. So like you have your first calendar year, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have your anniversary year if you change brokerages or change hands or whatever. And then you got to think about your first full year. Because if you get licensed, I got licensed in May. I didn't get into production, meaning like the deal closed until I think it was supposed to be September, but it was actually August. So those first couple months, I tell everybody, you're gonna be learning the systems. You could call me today and say, Kaye, I want you to sell my house. I'm ready. This is what I'm trying to do. Typically, and I'm gonna push you to try to get it on the market next week. I'm gonna say, what do we need to do? But most people, they want to touch up some paint, get the landscapers out here, do that. So we probably are gonna list it from 2 weeks from that conversation that you and I have. And then it's the crazy market, and no matter how beautiful the house is, it's gonna take at least 2 or 3 days to get under contract. So from there, if it's an FHA loan or a VA loan, you're closing in 45 days. So if you were to call me today, I probably wouldn't close your house until mid-January. It's crazy to think about it like that.
Okay.
But if somebody were to, maybe not mid-January, maybe like end of December. But if somebody write an offer now, it's going to be from 45 days. We're at the end of October. So that was kind of like, I was having all the conversations I need to have. But that first couple of months, I was mainly just getting my feet wet. Me being me, I was obsessing about the marketing. So I was building my brand. I was going to show houses all the time. The great thing about being an agent with Keller Williams is that we're such a large brokerage, 200 plus agents, that even me, if I can't make it to my home inspection because I'm at another home inspection, if you got 5 houses on the contract, you're gonna miss out on one. Or final walkthroughs, or like if someone wants to show a house, I'm not the ego person to say you gotta wait for me. And I'm at my baby's basketball shooting practice, I'm going to say I'm going to leverage that out. I'm going to call somebody in our brokerage and figure out how to get you in that house, no matter if I have to be there or someone else. It's all about the team from my perspective. So that first year of real estate, I really took that first 4 or 5 months to get the systems. We had a bunch of trainings that I went to. We have something called Mega Camp, and it's just a week long of just straight training, like all Keller Williams agents from all around the world talking about lead generating, things like that. So I didn't really get into production until April. I had a great first year. Like I said, if deeming to be success is 1 million, I doubled that easily my first year, and now where I'm at. Don't
just go over that so fast. She doubled the 1 year thing. She Michael Jordan. She overachieving.
Well, for me to think about that and to think about the fact that I was also running a household. If you follow me, I'm like very transparent. I also went through a divorce, so that kind of takes a toll on anybody. Me especially, because I left, so I was rebuilding. When it came to like living and all that stuff. So, I took time for my mental health, and I definitely, tell all entrepreneurs to check in with yourself, because what I can do really well is still go to work. I still got up and went. I left, and like the day after I was listing a property. So I was like, I had stuff, my trunk was full, you know what I mean? But I was like, at least I got my work. At least I got my license. And I look back on my marriage, and I'm like, I probably would not have gotten my real estate license if I wouldn't have gotten married. I wouldn't have had that sweet spot. So through all the goods and the bads, I am who I am today because of it. But I took some time for my mental health, and sometimes I sit back and I think about like, man, I gave y'all time to catch up, and you still couldn't. I'm just kidding. I love all my real estate friends, and I pray for your success.
So, profits.
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 Yeah. there's two different, and I want to make sure that we break this down, because there's your gross, which is what you like, what your sales leads to, and there's what you actually take home. And a lot of people don't realize that, because it's actually not legal to talk about commissions and what realtors get. So you can charge 1% or you can charge 10%. There's no set standard for commissions, and that's just a miscommunication that a lot of people don't realize. You'll hear someone say, well, this is standard. Commissions can be whatever you want to. It is typical, if you Google, that most of the time there is a national average of a 6%, and it's usually split between the listing and the broker side. Arkansas is a little bit different. Usually the listing side gets a little bit more, which is weird, because you got places like Dallas and Atlanta where it's usually like half. But anyway, so from whatever that percentage is, whatever your profits are, you're gonna pay your brokerage fees. It can be anywhere from 20% to the brokerage. It can be 30% to the brokerage. Some brokerages have what's called a cap or a royalty fee, which is an additional fee that you pay, franchise fee, which is an additional fee that you pay to the brokerage. And then when you get into a situation like I am, which you're a capping agent, it means that you've paid all of your dues for the year, and you get 100% commission up until the next year, so it starts over. So my anniversary day is in December, so that's why it's so important for me to run from when I cap until that time, because I'm no longer paying my brokerage fees. So that was always my goal. Was like, how do I get to 100%? Because when you see a check and then you see 30% of that disappear, you're like, oh, like, you know, that's rough. Then let's talk about the 20% that you should be putting back for your taxes. So really, like, you might have a client, they might sit down, I'm sure you bought and sold property, so the closing, you go to the title company, sign your documents, you're looking at the check like, dang, can I make some money? You gotta have that, because of course, and then that's not even getting into expenses like internet, phone, cell phone, car. And that's the reason why you cannot get into this business and play around. If you're gonna be a part-time agent and sell a couple of houses a year and maybe average a $3,000 or $4,000 check, by the time you pay all your fees and you're working for the brokerage, really. So for me, it was like, okay, once I've done all of this, how can I really bring home six figures? How do I become a six-figure agent? Like, that's what I'm actually touching, tasting, feeling, taking to Nordstrom's, things like that. Take it to the dealership. Huh? I mean, when you work hard, there are different things that might say. Honestly, not really. I'm really not. But I do want to, like, I love to travel. That's my thing.
Okay, ain't nothing wrong with that. So there's a lot of winning in there. Mm-hmm. Have you had any setbacks where you thought, like, man, I wasn't expecting that?
Yes, and like I said, that 13%. Every once in a while, the brokerage will pair me with somebody that is they think that we'll be like-minded, or they think that I might be able to give them a perspective on the first year. And I love to do it, but honestly, I don't know if I'm always the best person for every personality. Because if you sit down with me, I'm gonna tell you, like, when they stood up and said only 13% of realtors make it in my class. When I got to Keller Williams, we had like people that started around the same time you be in a class and you do all the trainings together. I was looking around like, well, dang, y'all ain't gonna. It's gonna be a rough year for y'all, because I know I'm in the 13%. It's 10 of us, so that's 10 divided by 1 is 10%. That's 1 is me. That's me.
That's you.
It's you. It's gonna be me. So the setbacks were what turned me into the big dog. So the big dog is somebody who believes that no matter what the situation is, we're gonna win. We're gonna win, and if we lose the house, it wasn't the house. I'm also a firm advocate that God has controlled every single aspect of my life. And so I've been up, down, all the things. And every single time I've hit a curve, I always look back and be like, dang, it was for a reason. You know what I mean? So I try to just bring that into the transactions, because it can be very stressful. And I always tell people that if I show the side of me that's disappointed that we're still going to be looking at houses, and I show the side of me that's like, dang, I guess I might miss, my baby's shooting practice a couple more times, because they get out. They might get off of work at 5 o'clock, and we're going to see houses in the evening. There's that part of me that's like, I never do, because it's all about what's best for the client. And if, like I said, if it was easy, everybody would do it. The setbacks have been, I would say, of the 15, 20 transactions I've done, none of them were easy. Like maybe two or three of them. There were always something. Like I've had, liens come up on individuals and properties. That's why I always tell people, like, when someone reaches out to me and says, I'm not ready to buy a house, I'm thinking about doing it next year, I'm like, thank God that you reached out to me. Because not only do you need to know all these things about your credit, you also need to know what's on your CAVers, which is an entirely different system that they look at. So you might have a pre-approval, you might not have much on your credit, but they're going to look into you on a very, very deep level. This is not a car. When I went to go get my car, they didn't even check. They checked to make sure I had a job. At GM Financial, they didn't even ask me for my income, and I was self-employed, so I was prepared. You go buy a house, they want 3 years of bank statements. They want everything that they can possibly get, because it's...
Yeah, that car is going to depreciate.
Yeah, and they like, shoot, she bought a Mercedes too? Like, we won.
That house is generational wealth.
It is generational wealth.
It's a game changer.
It's a game changer.
So that's the difference. That's why they'll give you a car.
They'll give you a car.
Yeah, but when you start talking about changing somebody's grandkids' lives.
Yeah, and I'm also, I don't know how much I can say or how much it could potentially get me in trouble, but at the same time, it's history. If you look at the history, they typically have not wanted Black people and people of color and women to purchase houses. So we're working against being further behind than everybody else. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I do, because it's like, when you know that you can change you can change the family line for a person. The whole dynamic. I've got a client right now. His name is Kaye Chambers, and he's flipping properties, and and he's one of my oldest friends, and he's just an amazing person. But when he came to me, he wanted to buy this house off Pike, 44th Street, and I was coming up with all the reasons of why we should probably look somewhere else. But he's a North Little Rock guy. He's North Little Rock. That's his city. Mm-hmm. I give him a lot of grief for it, but that's where he's from. And so he saw the value of it. And in his credit, when this house closes, because we got under contract in 24 hours, but when this house closes, it's going to change the dollar per square footage of everybody off of 44th Street. It's going to change at least a 5-mile radius. This house is going to be the highest dollar per square footage that has sold in the last 12 months. And it came from somebody who put the sweat equity into the house and the property. And I'm so proud of him. And I'm proud to be able to be a part of it too. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a responsibility. I don't drink. I stopped drinking in January. I wasn't really a big drinker, but I would have a glass of wine and I would have cocktails with my friends. And I found that my vibrations were lower. Okay. So it was just like, it would take me a whole day to recover the next day, and I can't afford that.
No, definitely not in your line of work.
Sunday is the biggest day for me because there's always an open house, and I do a lot of goal planning. I always check in with my goals, like how many people did I call, what my appointments were. So the weekend I didn't have time to be kicking it with my friends, and I love my friends, and I'm thankful that we're like-minded, and they'll show up to the office, they'll bring me Starbucks, they know I'll come out, I'll give them a kiss on the cheek, all right, bye, y'all, I gotta go. And it's because they know that my vibrations are at a totally different level than I've ever been before, because I wake up with a huge responsibility. So yes, there might be a $7,000 commission check behind you, but to know that you, your wife, your kids, your family, that y'all have entrusted me, exactly. That's what gets me answering calls at 4 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night. That's what has me on the computer researching all the time. That's what has me studying for my Texas real estate license. It has nothing to do with the money, because honestly, I'm a pretty simple person. But it's the ability to vibrate higher and know that God has a calling on your life. And in order for me to do that at the level that I'm doing, it takes a laser focus. Because, you watch Last Dance, they showed Jordan as a freshman, and like all the Chicago Bulls were like doing lines and just, it was just crazy. They were wilding out. And he was drinking orange juice and 7-Up, because there was, you can't be great and perform at an average level. So that's why I, you know, had to change up how I treated myself, my life, my day. All of it is all in the flow of, yes, I did the 6-figure thing. Yes, I hit the first goal. And it's just goal after goal after goal. So it was like getting to 1 million, and then it was getting to 3 million, and then it was capping. And now it's, this year I hit a silver. Next year I gotta hit, to get to the next level. There's no, you get 3 million and then you get 5 million. It's you get 3 million and then the next step up is 7. So basically, in order to get to where I want to be next year, I'm gonna have to over double what I've already done, which is cool because, like I said, for 3 months.
Yeah, now you focus. You're locked in. You ain't got all the distractions anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and distractions will always come, but it's how we navigate them. It's, you can sit down, lay down, but it's how quickly you get back up. Because we were talking about, was there any time where I thought, yes, there were times where it's just like, how am I going to be able to consistently get money in this business? And they try to scare us now by saying that the market's going to change and interest rates are going to go up. And I'm just like, man, I'm a COVID realtor. I came out in COVID. I came out where everybody else was getting upset and freaking out. You know, when the Delta came out, everybody, and it's just like, I take it very, very seriously and all of those things. But at the same time, I never looked at it as an opportunity to stop. It is only this is a problem that has come up. How do I find a solution? So I'm very solution driven based. So like when a lien comes up or closings get moved back or people fall out of financing or anything like that, I'm just looking for the solution, and that's what helps you bounce back in this business.
It's the passion for me.
Thanks, babe.
So, influences. Who are your biggest influences besides Michael Jordan? We already know Jordan's on the top of the list.
Yeah. Definitely Jordan on the top of the list. I am really, really blessed to have connected with a lot of realtors in other markets. So, Alonda, she's a realtor in North Carolina. She's like a mentor to me. She owes me nothing, by the way. This woman literally is one of the highest producing single agents. Black female, married, but, a mother as well. And to the level that she's producing is insane. And her spirit we're so like-minded. Like, if you could take the two of us and, like, sometimes you think, like, am I ever going to find somebody that's like me? But she is. And so, hey sis, love you to death. And it's just that, it's that constant giving spirit. So when I was struggling, she took the time to sit down and show me, like, you're not goal setting. And so one of the ways that I do what I do is, or that I make new relationships outside of my social media, is I do open houses. And if you follow me, I take open houses extremely seriously. There's going to be a charcuterie board. There's going to be balloons. And I got that from the car business. Like, it wasn't a Friday or Saturday if we didn't have balloons out. So it's just, making it like, I do my flyers, I do my TikToks, I do my testers. And so people in our office call me and ask me if I would do their open house. I have one tomorrow, when they aren't able to do it because they know how seriously I take open houses. And it's really not something that a lot of people in this market do. So I was walking around with my chest. I'm like, yeah, I do the best open houses. I do open houses better than all y'all. Y'all's open houses are real, and mine are the best. I have my own people that are going to show up, And then I was just like, I watched how she did it, and I watched how she was, like, telling me, like, like, just how I could take it to the next level. And I was like, dang, I've been wasting my time. Because, yeah, I was doing them, but I wasn't honed in on the return on investment.
ROI.
That ROI. So it's like, now when I do an open house, I wake up focused. So it's not just, yes, my balloons are going to be pretty. Yes, there's going to be flowers. Yes, there's going to be a candle burning. Yes, there's going to be jazz music. All those things. But it's like, what am I doing? Why is this worth my time? I have to get a client from this. Exactly. So that's when the big dog comes out, because it's just like, I'm not going to be sitting inside this house on a Sunday and not go get it. So if I have an open house where it's like, people don't show up, I take my time and I'll start knocking on people's doors, and I'll find a neighbor that wants to have a conversation. Like, do you know that when this house sells, like, this is potentially what could happen for your business? And I've gotten so cold-blooded with the research and my ability to, like, go off of comps that if you ask me, it used to take me a while. It used to take me like a day. Like someone would say, well, how much can I get for my house? I said, I'll call you tomorrow. And I would sit up all night and I'd do the research. Now I'm like, I can
give them a comp real quick.
I mean, it's the only way, you know, and you know, of course it's theory until you get inside the house and see what the condition of it is and everything. But the numbers are so significant right now that, you know, if I get in your house, I'm going to find a way to convince you to sell it.
It's time.
It's time.
Get that equity out of this house. Move on.
And interest rates are low. If interest rates go up again, nobody's going to want to sell.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to want to sell because you're going to be buying in an up market, so the product is going to be inflated, and then how much it costs to buy it is also going to be inflated as well.
Exactly.
My job, if you're already in the house, my job is to get you as much net profit as possible, and for there to be an understanding that on the other side, we're probably going to be in a situation where you might lose a little, but this is how much of that profit we're trying to hold on to. And I say that, and my clients are like, you know, it's all it takes is the right house, and they like, we don't care, you know. That's why. But at the same time, you know, it's just like, and then sometimes you win on the house, and sometimes you win on the deal. So
gotcha.
I got clients that are motivated by both.
Yes.
Me, it's not gonna be, you know, if it's got the closet that I need. If it's by some water, and it has a place that my baby can enjoy her time and play and everything like that, I'm probably not going to too much care.
What she said. Hey, you guys been hanging out this long. I know you've gotten a lot of information here. If you want to get into real estate, you see we tapped in. So thumbs up, like, subscribe for more information. But most importantly, if you want to get in touch with Kaye and get more information, how can they reach you?
So I do have a YouTube channel. I can't tell you how many times I'm a post on it, but I just recently posted a new video, and it was my first year in real estate and kind of a wrap up from the first video that I did. But pretty much everything is Close with Kaye, and that's Kaye, Kaye with the E. You know, Instagram, Facebook. I'm at that part where I'm like maxed out at 5,000 friends, so I gotta drop 10 every morning in order to like gain new people. I wish Mark would just change. I'm sure you are too, aren't you? Are you maxed out?
Yeah, I like being maxed out though, so I can send them a message to link them to my YouTube channel. That's what I do. I get my YouTube subscribers.
Well, I need to get better, but there's so many people that like if somebody posts, especially like if somebody posts a closing day, like if my clients, if we post a closing day and things like that, it's rough because, you know, I'll get messages and that end up in the shady
you have to go, that box,
and I'm like, dang, I forget to check that one.
Yeah,
it's all people trying to get me to get in Bitcoin. So
oh my goodness. Well, yeah,
all the things. Close with Kaye.
Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I definitely enjoyed it. I always learn a lot. It's great to be around professionals and people who understand what they're actually talking about. Hey, if you are interested in being on the show, jump in my messages.
For sure.
Drop something down there. You know, hey, if I think that it works for me and you, I'll definitely get you on the show. I appreciate you so much for coming on the show. This was wonderful.
Yes, it was.
I wish you much success. We got to get you back on in 5 years so you can tell us about the rest of the story.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
We're going to let the big dog out. It's the rapper, baby.
It's the rapper.